Hey, this is Matt. Once again, we're about to end the videos. Another paid request. This time for Jonathan. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for The Messengers from 2007, which probably the last time I saw this was when it came out. Because this came out when I was working at the video store called Mr. Movies when I was in Iowa. And might have been one of those where I rented for free. I watched it one time. I did not remember much of it. Because you could rent stuff for free if you worked at the store. And then forgot about it afterward. Never bothered to watch it again. Now, this was not the worst movie I saw. I know, high praise, right? But it's a very, in a way, harmless but inconsequential movie. It's not a lone film. It's directed by the Payne brothers, which I guess they directed Bangkok Dangerous, both the original and the remake with Nicolas Cage, with the poster that he's holding the gun, but they took the gun out, so it's just this, with no gun, just his hand doing this. And the cast is interesting. You got Kristen Stewart. And Kristen Stewart, Twilight really screwed her up. I mean, it was successful, made her a lot of money, but kind of people don't look at her. They don't look at her as a good actress because of that movie. Even for a while, myself included, because I would see clips of those movies and go, "This is terrible." But like Robert Pattinson, when you see them in other movies, you're like, they're not that bad of actors. They're actually pretty good. It's just they were given terrible material. So, like Kristen Stewart, she was good as Jodie Foster's daughter in Panic Room. And see with her, she does fine as this teenager that's with her mom, her dad, and her baby brother. And they moved to, I want to say it was South Dakota, to the sunflower farm. Dylan McDermott, who I do like from Hamburger Hill, among other movies. He's the father. He bought this place to try to fix it up and live a life. The mom is played by Penelope Ann Miller, who I remember from The Relic. You tells there's some friction between the daughter and the mom. You find out much, much later as to why. There's the baby brother who doesn't talk. At least for most of the film, he doesn't talk. And they're just trying to figure out what to do. And I like that Kristen Stewart is not made to be a bitchy, whiny person, because they could have easily made this where she's always complaining. Why did we move? Why are we here? I hate it here. That would have been the typical thing to do. I'm glad they did not do that. So it makes her more likable. It makes her more watchable. It makes her less irritating. And I liked her. I thought for what little she was given, she did what she could. She's just someone that has made mistakes in the past, is trying to manage. She's like she has a bit of a better relationship with her dad than her mom, which was also a nice little surprise, because usually it'd be the dad's the awful one, or the dad's the bully, or the dad's a drunk. Or they don't do that. Other recognizable people, William B. Davis, my friend Stem and Mark's favorite person. But the smoking man from the X-Files, he's in it as a guy from the bank. He's in like 2 or 3 scenes trying to get, hey, I know you just moved in here, but someone got a better offer. Do you want to sell? I mean, it's nice to see William B. Davis, but he's there in a very nothing role. That's why it's so surprising. Like, he's on the X-Files, and like he's not given much to do here. He's in like 3 brief scenes. Anybody could have played him. John Corbett, who I remember from the TV show Northern Exposure, he comes in later as a guy that helps scare these crows away for Dylan McDermott, and then becomes a hired hand to help out. Meanwhile, Kristen Stewart, she meets a boy in town. I like the idea that this guy's really shitty at basketball. So he's trying to impress her, but he keeps missing plays like how I played basketball. Like missing like this far away. And I like that they didn't make him a douchebag. They didn't make him a poser. They didn't make him the typical jock from a CW show or some magazine cover. He had a likable enough quality to him. So it's not that there's a lot of absolute positive, fantastic character development. It's just that the characters were fine. Like the actors, more so the actors were fine in their roles. I don't have issues with the acting. The script, though, it's just very boring. You see an opening, black and white photography, where this family is hunted down. And if you watch enough of these movies, you get an idea what's going on. Because you don't see who's chasing them. And it's a mom, and it's a, I think, older daughter, and a son. And they're hunted by this figure. You don't see the kid's hiding in this low cupboard. The door's open. He screams, gets taken. Which family member did we not see? I wonder why. And as his family moves in years later, I like the look of the environment. Not every day you see a sunflower farm. There's a lot of type of farms. So the sunflower farm gave at least a different visual aesthetic. It's just the scares, the horror was lacking. Severely lacking. Some lame boo stares, lame loud noises, like someone looks out a window and their crow hits the window. The little boy starts seeing stuff. He'll look in a spoon. I'm like, there's no spoon. Sees a reflection, and it's this goofy looking bit where a kid ghost is on the wall, crawling like Spider-Man, but they speed up the camera, so like, it's just, that's not scary. It's like trying to be the Ring remake made a lot of money, so a lot of people try to capitalize on that. Same with The Grudge. The Grudge with Sarah Michelle Gellar and the Ring remake with Naomi Watts, those two made a ton of money, so every studio wanted their version. This was Ghost House Pictures that Sam Raimi had his hand in. Might as well have his hand down his fucking pants. He didn't do anything else with this movie. And the scares is just severely lacking. It wasn't creepy. It wasn't unsettling. It wasn't suspenseful. There's a stain on the wall that Penelope cleans. Then it's back. Then the little spider kid looked goofy as shit. Spastastic spider kid. Or a kid that took too much fucking Ritalin. He's bouncing off the walls. Literally. I think Kristen Stewart sees a crow that she thinks is dead, but it comes alive. Then there's a bit, I don't know, halfway through where it looks like things are being thrown about, and she's dragged down the basement, and she crawls back out, gets the kid, they leave, but then John Corbett's there, and there's nothing here. What's going on? She turns, everything's back to normal. The cops have come, the parents, they don't buy Kristen Stewart's story, of course, because why would they? She says the house is haunted, but they haven't seen anything. All the furniture is fine. The kid doesn't talk. And then, spoiler alert, you find out why there's friction between the parents, more so the mom and the... It's because at one point Kristen Stewart was drunk. Well, not drunk, but she had drank. She was hungover. She's supposed to drive with her baby brother. They got in a crash. Since then, the brother doesn't talk anymore. So there's a bit of guilt and blame of that. There's a bit where Kristen Stewart follows sounds to this barn. And then when she's in the barn, she sees a little figure in a corner. Now, you've seen that there's ghosts and hauntings there. Who the fuck do you think this size of a kid, who the fuck do you think this was? Okay, if you've been seeing all this paranormal activity, supernatural activity, and then you see this complete stranger in a corner, huddled and crying, after hearing some noises, if you think there are ghosts, wouldn't you think that was a fucking ghost? But apparently not. She's like, oh, who are you? And how'd you get here? And blah, blah, blah. So lo and behold, turns, the kids all... attach her off screen. Then it cuts to a hospital. Then it's like, oh, must have been self-inflicted. Then the parents, like, especially the dad, gets pissed. Which I'm like, okay, if your daughter got out of the hospital and you think she cut herself, would the first thing you do is yell at her? That seems like a kind of a shitty thing to do. Like, that's not the smartest thing. You fucking dumbass, you trying to kill yourself, you fucking idiot. But of course they won't listen to her. The crows, at times when they appear, it's CGI. Maybe there was a fucking Resident Evil movie with the CG crows. So at one point John Corbett is attacked by the crows. Not the crow, not Brian Lee. I wish, but the crows. But, like I said, you kind of know where this is going if you've seen enough of these movies. Spoilers. Kristen Stewart gets her new kind of boyfriend. They looked into it. This locket she found with a picture of this ghost she's been seeing. Oh, wait, that's the family that was killed. Oh, lo and behold, the dad was John Corbett. He had killed his family. And that's what the ghosts are. Granted, it's a shitty way of messaging people. You just write, John Corbett killed me. Or whatever the hell his character's name. But, you know, hey, ghosts don't have to be smart. They just have to be violent. I don't know what fucking up my wrist is going to do in messaging you. You know, getting your message about who killed you, but... You know, ghosts, maybe you should, I don't know, get some pen and paper. Just write shit down. That would help your messages a lot better. Do ghosts just forget how to write? I don't know. Do ghosts have brains? I guess so. You would think, but they don't know how to message for shit. That's the thing with ghosts. They don't know how to message for shit. Just say, this motherfucker killed me. Get his ass. Go here. Evidence. Do it now. We're gonna hunt the shit out of you. Okay. And don't try to leave, or we'll follow you, and then hunt the shit out of there too. Okay, I will do it. Thank you. That's a message I understand. But the ghosts never do that. So they get there. Penelope sees a ghost, realizes her daughter was telling the truth. John Corbett's out of his mind. He thinks this family is his family and attacks them. Goes after him with a pitchfork. Kristen Stewart gets there. Her boyfriend gets knocked out. Kristen Stewart tries to fight John Corbett. They hide. Dylan McDermott comes in just to get stabbed. He doesn't die, but he gets stabbed. And that's the thing, it just... For such a lack of thrills, lack of scares, lack of suspense, even this whole finale is nothing to run home about. It's just... She tries to attack him. He slams her down. Ready to stab her. She moves out of the way. Kicks him. He falls on the ground. They're in the basement. And then the ghost grab him, pull him down. Then he tries to pull her. Dylan McDermott and Penelope, mom, dad and mom and dad, pull Kristen Stewart out. I will give credit. At least there's no cliffhanger ending. There's no sequel bait ending. There's no jump scare boo ending. I applaud that because a lot of times they would try to do that shit where it ends downbeat, or get ready for a sequel, or do this boo cheap steer. They don't do that. Ends on a happy note. I applaud that. And because I didn't mind the actors, it didn't leave me a feeling of anger. I wasn't mad. It was short. But at the same time, what do you get out of this? I mean, would people actually be scared of the movie? I don't think there's nearly enough stuff happening for that to be the case. The story, I think most people could predict. I mean, I know I told you, but I did say spoilers. I think most people could predict where it's going. I mean, in a way, it kind of seems like what Cold Creek Manor was going to be, with Dennis Quaid and Sharon Stone and Stephen Dorff. Or at least the way the trailer made it seem like. The trailer made it seem like it was a haunted house movie. But I mean, other than that, it is kind of like Cold Creek Manor. Well, people move to a place. Someone who's at the place before wants to move in and gets, because of a past deed that person did. I mean, most of the scares is just the little kid going around like this. Again, the one scene where she's pulled into the basement, crows. There's not a whole lot to sink your teeth into. It comes off as rather slow. It comes off as rather boring. And you could do that type of stuff without shit happen every 5 minutes. The Changeling did that well, but the Changeling had much more of a atmosphere to it. I don't mind Kristen Stewart, but George C. Scott was much more of a compelling lead, just based on who he is as an actor. And the story is a bit more interesting of who this ghost is and what brought upon it. I mean, the very beginning pretty much tells you what happened to that family, so it's not a surprise. Idea that it's supposed to be you think a ghost killed them. But I don't know, the fact that you never see the dad kind of put up warning flares to that. And then also, like Dylan McDermott, he doesn't really have a whole lot to do in the finale. He pretty much gets wounded. He does help his daughter so that she doesn't die, to be fair, but like I said, there's nice little moments, like when he's put into the hospital, in the ambulance, I should say. He looks at his daughter and they have this nice little moment. That's what I mean. I think the actors did the best they could. It's just the script was very limited in terms of story or scares. I think that's the issue I have with it. You're not going to be that scared. You're not going to be that thrilled. So it's more of, oh, okay, I don't mind the actors. They're not irritating. They're not annoying. I don't even think they're bad. I like the location. Because again, a sunflower farm makes it seem a bit different aesthetically. The CGI isn't that great. Like this one ghost coming out of a wall. When Penelope Ann Miller first sees it, looked a bit goofy. But it was meant to be scary. Like I said, the CG crows, they weren't always the best looking. Although still better looking than the CGI deer in The Ring 2. I'll give you that. So it's not the worst movie I've seen, but forgettable. It's a fairly forgettable flick. I could watch this over a bunch of other movies because, like I said, nothing that made me mad. Is just not exciting. So, but like I said, there's little stuff I appreciate. I appreciate the ending, and not doing, like I said, not doing the typical boo or sequel bait or like I said, the actors I like the family, but it was actually the more supernatural stuff that was lacking to me. But yeah, that's just me. But with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye bye.